Welcome back to another episode of Ethereum and Chill. I am Trader Mayne. We'll start with Bitcoin, then we'll move on to Ethereum. Let's get into the video. Obviously, looking good, right? We've had a very bullish move here since our last stream. So just checking the dates here. The last stream we did was on the 26th. We were trading right around here during the last stream. So if you've been following me for a while, I was one of the people who did post this area of interest for support to see a move up. And obviously we've got that very nice reaction. You know, the 3-day candle looks really strong. The daily candle coming off that level, three white soldiers as they want to say. We are coming up into some high time frame resistance. So you obviously want to be cautious and be aware. And this is something that I've posted about on Twitter. You can't deny that this is a very nice looking weekly candle. So the question that we're going to have now is, where is this going to close? First of all, are we going to have a daily swing failure pattern here, which will close in about 50 minutes? Where could this pull back to? And where do we want to see it hold to kind of maintain our bullish bias? Where would we potentially say, okay, this was a fake out, we're actually going lower? We're going to cover all of that in today's stream. Let's start with some hindsight analysis. How did I catch this low? What was my reasoning? And then we can talk about where do we think price is going from here. This low, right, that I wanted to see us catch was based off of the 3-day order block here. The 3-day order block here is the one that we're focused on, right? This is the one where I said, okay, based on this move up here, we want to assume that this was, accumulation here. And it obviously was, right? Because we saw this move up. Now, they could have distributed this entire position here, right? And then this could go down. We don't know. We don't really care about that right now. All we know is this was accumulation. This was a big breakout. It had to pull back at some point. If you've been following me for a while, we had talked about 53K, and this bearish weekly order block is an area where we could see the market potentially top. It's that macro fib and this bearish order block. We said, okay, this is where, if this is a lower high here, we think it occurs somewhere in here. And that's exactly what happened. It came right into the 6.2, just shy of the order block there. Came right into the 6.2, rejected. Right? So we talked about this being an area, this sweet spot being the area of interest for a potential top to form. We also discussed previously, and I was talking about this area back in June, a move up here and then potentially down. We got that rejection. We also talked about the fractal, right? The topping fractal, how this kind of looks like, this. And we had discussed, the 1, 2, 3 drives, break in market structure, the pullback, right? 1, 2, 3 drives, break in market structure, the pullback, and that's short. Where is this fractal now breaking is this. Here we had the dump, and then we dumped further, and then obviously even further. Whereas here we dumped, and now we're finding support. And basically what I wanted to kind of determine was, okay, if this is now a trend change, so we broke market structure here, but now we want to potentially shift the trend back to the upside on the high time frame, right? Well, where would that happen? And what would be the levels of interest in terms of where we're looking for and where the higher low effectively could form, right? Because we broke market structure here, right? We broke out of this key SR level here. So on our first pullback, we want to be a bull at a potential SR flip. So where did my thesis come for the level? I think this is pretty clear SR. We've kind of got this range high here, resistance, 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 consolidated under. And then once we broke, we had a major rally. So when we return to this level, we want to potentially be bullish here. You want to be a bull at support. We broke market structure to the upside. We want to be a bull at support. That's why we were not hugely bearish into this area. Where do key order blocks form? Our key order blocks form near key SR levels, right? So there's your key SR. Where's your order block? The down candle before the up move that broke market structure to the upside. We mark out the candle and we came right into it. Boom, consolidated and launched. That is the type of reaction we want to see. Now I can zoom in on the low time frame and I can show you, okay, what was the actual entry trigger? Why did we want to get long here? We came to the level, we tagged it. There's your swing failure pattern. Here's bullish market structure right here, right? You need to start, if you're not getting bullish into this, kind of falling wedge breakout into the retest of the SFP, you're absolutely getting long once we start putting in bullish market structure here. So if you didn't long down here, you need to be longing in this consolidation. We talked about this shit in the last stream, and then obviously we broke out, right? And now we've even continued to move even higher. It looks good. Everything is acting as it should on the high time frame. You know, the weekly candle looks strong. Got a very nice reaction from that order block. Very nice reaction from SR. Now the question is, okay, where does this thing have to go to confirm that it's bullish and it wants to go higher? And how far can this pull back and still maintain that bullish momentum? And then obviously, where would be our levels of invalidation? Because you have to have a plan for both scenarios. So I always talk about this, right? Trading is very simple. If and then, okay? This is how you need to structure your trading. And this is anyone who knows what they're doing, anyone who's worth their salt has a plan for both directions. As soon as someone comments on one of my tweets or on someone else's tweet, because you know, someone will say, okay, if it does this, we do this, and if it does this, we do this. And then there's always at least one fucking smooth-brained ape who goes, oh, hurdy-dirty-dir, could go up or down. I instantly will either block, mute, or just never take anything that person says seriously again, because that is just an asinine statement, and that tells me that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because this is what trading is. If this happens, then my plan is this. If this happens, then my plan is that. So that is, in essence, how I structure all of my ideas. I have a key high time frame area that I'm looking to do business at. And if certain conditions are met, then I will execute a trade. If they are not met, then I won't execute a trade. Or if they're met in the other way, right? If we broke down below here, I'd absolutely be looking to short this thing down into here. That is how you have to think about your trading. And the problem is people are a little bit too fixated on, well, what if it doesn't bounce from my level? How do you know it's going to? You don't, right? What we're doing is we're using technical analysis, indicators, whatever the fuck you want to use to make an educated guess. You're making a risk-adjusted, educated guess. It's a gamble. But if you know what you're doing from a TA perspective and you manage your risk, it's a gamble that A, you know the risk going into it, and B, you might potentially have some edge. That's all we're doing. I didn't know it was going to bounce here for sure. I made a bet that it was going to. I knew how much I would lose if I was wrong, and I had reasons to think it might bounce from there, but I didn't know for sure. It could have done this, right? And then guess what? On Twitter, you would have had people be like, haha, told you it was a deviation, silly bulls. And then since it bounced, you have, haha, silly bears. How could you be bearish into support? The problem is you don't actually know until it happens. And when it works out in people's favor, they act as if they knew with 100% certainty. But I'm pretty confident that a lot of people who longed here, they said, okay, I'm gonna long this level. They were shitting bricks when we came back down to it, right? A lot of people puke their position because that's how the markets move. They're gonna say, okay, you got the idea right, but we're not just gonna tag your level and then moon. We're gonna make it painful for you. We're gonna tag your level, then we're gonna tag it again and again, and then we're gonna grind down into it. We're gonna make it look like absolute shit, and then it's gonna go. Because what is happening here psychologically, people are getting fudded out of their positions, they're puking, they're freaking out. People are gonna say, oh, it's not gonna bounce. They're shorting into support, while the makers of the market who are actually gonna move the market up, right, they're gonna be accumulating their longs here. There's never any free rides. It's never easy, right? And you never know until it actually happens, but they make it difficult. That's part of the grind. That's part of the game, right? It's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it, and it's easy in hindsight, right? After we had this 20% bounce off support, of course, all the bulls are euphoric, being like, I fucking told you so, me included. I'm on there, I'm fucking retweeting old tweets of mine where I called it, right? But at the end of the day, unless you took a trade here, shut the fuck up. You don't know until it happens. You make a plan, you execute the plan, and then you live with the result. And so if your plan was to bid here and you didn't bid and then it bounced, you didn't call shit. You might have called it on Twitter, but unless you actually stepped in, put your money on the line, you didn't do shit. So try to ignore the noise, from me included, because I'm just as guilty. I'm a clout farmer. I'm on there planting clout seeds, and I'm tilling the fields. I'm fucking watering the crops. I'm gonna collect that clout when it grows, when it works, because, you know, part of what I do is I'm fucking, you know, a person posting shit on Twitter for hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, it's part of my brand, I guess. But at the end of the day, what matters to you and what should really matter to you is, did you have a plan plan for when price came to this level? And did you execute on that plan? And are you comfortable living with the results, right or wrong? If you were bearish here, you're not a fucking idiot, as much as Twitter might tell you. You just got the fucking trade wrong. What's the next trade? Move on. Wipe it from your mind. It's gone. Short-term memory, right? Eliminate it. So we had reasons to look for bullishness here. We had the key SR. We had our bullish break in market structure out of this range. We had our 3-day order block. We have the 50% fib. So we had a bunch of reasons to want to get long here. So now let's talk about where we're at and what our plan is from here in terms of, okay, are we going to go much higher? Are we making new all-time highs? Looking at price now, we're coming into an interesting area here. We've got our daily candle shaping up as a potential swing failure pattern. There's a good chance that if this closes how it looks in about 34 minutes, that we see a bit of a pullback. We've had effectively like a 20% move off the low with no pullback. So a pullback is completely reasonable. The question is, where can it pull back to? And where do we want to see it hold in order to, assume that we're going to continue this up only? We've had a move from 3-day demand to 3-day supply. We came just shy, but that's this is an area of resistance. And this to me is like, the last bastion of hope for the bears. Like if we're able to get above here, right? Even lower, I think if we start closing above 50, I think that's really bullish. But if we are able to get above here, I don't see how we don't go and test the high. That's the logical move for me. If we get above here, I think, we long to here. But I would even venture to say that if we get above 50K, pretty good chance we're going much higher. But yet to be seen. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. As you guys know, I trade level to level. We're going to see how this daily candle closes here. Does look like it wants to close as a swing failure pattern. If that's the case, what do you think is the most obvious SR level for us to get a retest on the daily chart? To me, it seems like this. This seems to be the obvious retest level, right? That previous high, we broke through it. So this 45K area, 45,164.5, if you want to be precise, this seems like where the obvious retest is going to be and the obvious area that you want to see this hold. We've already closed as a swing failure pattern here on the H4. So to me, this area here, this is the SR flip that you want to see occur. We come back down here and we do not hold this area. I think we trade back down to here and it probably gets uglier. Think of this as a range. We have one trading range from here to here, and then we have another trading range from here to here. Okay, we have another trading range here. So we've got this, we've got this, we've got this one, we've got to here. We're now trading within this range. We're now in here. So if we fail within this range, we trade into this range. And if we fail within this range, we're into this range. So the question you need to ask yourself is, okay, if we just regained this range here, where do I want to be a bull? Near the bottom. This is where I want to see this thing hold. I want to see this thing hold here if we're going to come up and then ultimately trade much higher. So that's the kind of setup I'm looking for here on Bitcoin. If we do indeed close this as an SFP and we get that pullback, that 45K area, that SR flip, that's where I want to see the bull step in to confirm that this is going to go higher. And again, you can pull your fib. And what do we have? Right within this range, right? Here's range 1. Well, halfway, there's your 50 again, right at that SR level, the 45K level. So to me, that's tons of confluence on where I want to be a bull. So if we are able to get a pullback into that 45K area, that's where I want to see the bull step in, and that's where I want to see price hold for us to go higher. If we fail here, guess what? This becomes deviation back into here. This becomes a big old deviation back into here. So that's what we don't want. Okay, that's what we don't want ideally. I'm not saying that it can't come back here and still go up, but I don't want to see us get back within this 40 to 45K range. I want us to stay above it and I want us to get bullish. Back into here, we want to see the bull step in. This is where I'm looking to long next personally. Right? I would have shaved off some long exposure up here. If you're still in longs, this was your signal to probably shave some off. You can always buy back, but this is where I want to see the bull step in. 45K area. Now, how could you potentially get in a short if you wanted to? Back into here, because there's a trade to be made here. This is, a little 7-8% range here. So first thing we got to do is determine what way is our high time frame market structure. If this H12 and this daily candle closes bearish, the market structure on the daily chart is technically still bearish for me. Now, it depends how you like to determine market structure, but this is the swing high that generated the swing low. So this is the high that I want to see get above to confirm that now the market structure is in fact bullish. Some people might look and say, okay, well, we actually made a low here. Here's a high, here's a higher low, here's a higher high. This to me is an intermediate term trend, but the higher time frame trend is still potentially down, right? Until this high gets breached. So all that I'm saying by that is if we're taking a short here, we're actually in line with that high time frame trend still because we failed to make a higher high. This is an SFP, not a higher high. And then if we hold here this long relative to this trend, this long that we might take here is actually counter trend until we're above here. And then your dips are now within the trend. How would you potentially get short? First of all, a common thing that you see here after a breakout, we had this consolidation occur at resistance, right? We're in resistance here. When you see this kind of consolidation occur this close to a swing high, you often will see that high get run, right? And then potentially, you know, something like this. This is kind of what we're looking for, effectively this move. This is a very common pattern, and I'm sure you saw a lot of people draw this on Twitter. Once we had this move up, I bet you saw a lot of people with this exact chart be like, run this high and then pull back. Super common, liquidity grab, dump it, shake out the late longs, and then really send it. So how could we get involved in a short if we wanted to? The H4 is already closed as a SFP, and the H1 actually has already, the H12 is about to close as an SFP as well. And the market structure here is bearish. We're in the upper part of this range from this high to this low. We're in the upper extreme of the range. So if I wanted to get short, personally, what I would be doing is waiting for this daily candle to close. If the daily candle closes as an SFP, you could literally enter a short on the candle close, enter, let's assume it closes right here, and your stop goes here and your target is here. That's easily a 2-to-1. Or you can go on the low time frame and you can wait for what? The trend to shift. So let's assume it closes as an SFP. That is your risk. Right? So if we now close below a key low here, your entry becomes a pullback on a break in market structure. There's your risk. Once we break market structure to the downside, you could now enter on a low time frame. Like this is your high time frame risk. If we do something like this, you can now short this, stop here, or short the underside of here with your stop there, something like that. What going to the lower time frame allows you to do is zoom in and find a potentially better risk reward setup, because on the lower time frame there's a chance that you're going to be able to get potentially a better risk reward because your invalidation will be closer. If you're taking this trade based on the daily swing failure pattern, your stop has to be above that SFP high. But if you say, okay, if we break this low, I'm looking to sell the first pullback, now your stop could be here, right? At the high that generated the new low. Because you're saying, okay, the SFP says we're going down. I'm going to now step in on the low time frame. And this trade, let's assume that the daily closes how it is right now. And we're targeting 45. That's trade one. Trade two, better risk reward. Why? Because we're entering on the lower time frame. Our invalidation is closer to our entry. So yes, our entry is actually worse technically in terms of what the price of it was. Your actual entry price doesn't matter. Your risk reward is what matters. If you get in a short at 48,230 and I don't enter until 47,700, but I get 4R and you get 3R, who took the better trade? I did. Right? I made more money. You can use the lower time frame to get in, dial in your entries. This is the kind of setup we're going to be looking for to get short on. Either the daily SFP closes and you enter as an SFP setup, or you go on the low time frame, you look for some sort of low time frame market structure shift to the downside, and you get in on a pullback. That's how I would play this on the short side, and you can do this even on the lower time frame, right? Maybe you want to get in on the M15. Maybe the M15 does this, okay? Comes up to here and then breaks here. Okay, well now your entry is going to be even tighter, right? Maybe you're getting in on the M15. Whatever the fuck you want to do to get in is up to you. What I'm doing is giving you the key levels where these setups can form. How you enter them and how you decide to actually trade it is completely up to you. Personally, if this closes as an SFP, I'm going to look at the 1 hour chart to flip bearish. If the 1 hour chart breaks market structure to the downside, I'm going to be hopping in a short, targeting here. I gave you a short scenario for here, trading into here. And then we want to look for bullishness at this 45K area for continuation. I'll be looking to buy here for a move up. If we get below here, I would not be surprised if we trade back into the range lows here. So then obviously, you know, if we break down here, start putting in bearish market structure, you can look to short lower. If we're able to reclaim this high, I would still be cautious because this is resistance. But if we come up here and we just start consolidating, I'm going to be looking for reasons to get long towards higher prices. Like if we're able to consolidate above this high, I would be looking for a consolidation pattern, and then I would be looking for a reason to get long within that consolidation if we get above this high. Okay, looking at Ethereum now. Ethereum played out pretty fucking clean in terms of coming into support, 3 taps, moved up, and now we're back within this old trading range on Ethereum. So the difference for me here on Ethereum is Ethereum's bounced off this 12-hour order block here, right? We came down, right? We had our big pullback, we had our sell-off. This was the range we were watching, failed at the range high, boom, down below the range low, rejected, and now we're back within this range. To me, this range is still relevant, and right now this is just looking like a deviation below the range. We're now back in the range, right? So we deviated out of the high, traded below, we're back in. Ethereum, similar to Bitcoin, is right into resistance here, and it's potentially putting in a 12-hour swing failure pattern. So this to me is a very similar kind of setup that we have to Bitcoin here, where we could see this close and pull back. So where is the level for Ethereum that we would want to be interested in bidding if Bitcoin's going to pull back to 45K? Let's speak hypothetically. Right back into this range low is where I'm interested in bidding Ethereum. So 3150 effectively. If Bitcoin is going to pull back, this is where I'm interested in bidding Ethereum on an equivalent pullback, right? Because this is going to be, 7-8% drop. It's going to be about the same as Bitcoin dropping into that 45K region. Pretty straightforward analysis on Ethereum here. It's effectively the same as Bitcoin. We're into resistance after a very nice move up off the low. We're looking to buy back into this previous SR, which happens to be that old range low. So if we come back down here, I'm looking for reasons to be a bull on Ethereum for another leg up. So where would be your initial entry? 3150. If we get a bullish reaction here, back above the EQ, that's your next area that you look for a long. If you didn't long here, you're looking to long at 3350. Then obviously above the range high, right? That is exactly how I would play this thing. It'd be like a ICT sell model. Box 1, box 2, box 3, box 1, box 2, box 3, right? Sell off, consolidate, boom, consolidate. Maybe you get your dip there, up into here, and then boom. That's your market maker sell model for you ICT nerds. So that is what I'd be looking for on Ethereum. Very similar to Bitcoin. If we close how we're closing, you could look for a low time frame short, right? Get below the mid-range here. There's your short into here. And now we're looking to be bullish at 3150, bullish above there, bullish above here for higher prices. So we just had the daily close, and it closed as a swing failure pattern on Ethereum here on the H12. So what could we be looking for to short this thing? Technically, you could short this thing right now based on the SFP. You could short this thing right now based on the swing failure pattern. Same goes for Bitcoin. You could short this thing right now based on the SFP if you wanted to. Or wait for it to break this low, then get in on a pullback, stop here, target into here, and we're looking to long down here. And the exact same thing on Ethereum, right? You could short it now or wait for it to break down, then get short into here. Okay, but from a terms of, kind of market structure wise, we're both looking to long both Ethereum and Bitcoin on a higher low. We're looking to long Bitcoin around 45K. We're looking to long Ethereum around 3150. We've given you a short setup, and then we've given you a long setup. If Ethereum decides to just rip here above the range high, I'm just getting giga long on this thing towards way higher. Just like on Bitcoin, same plan, right? If it gets above that current swing high, I'm getting giga long. Stock market Mayne. So we talked about the stock market like 2 streams ago. First signs of weakness, broke market structure to the downside. So people are asking me, do order blocks work on other markets? Absolutely. This is the order block that broke market structure, right? Boom, boom. Pull back, ripped off of there. Where did it bottom? Right into weekly support. And I posted this on Twitter. I said, Stock Trader Mayne, there's your weekly bullish order block. What we want to see on stonks is we want to see a regain of this. Because if this rolls, right? Makes a third drive. That's going to be Bitcoin going to 45K. However, if it gets above here, you know, that's what we want to see. But maybe we get down 3 drives, deeper into that weekly order block, and then we get our big old rally. New all-time high, and Bitcoin new all-time high. That's the dream, folks. This guy says the Dow Jones is printing a Wyckoff distribution. So what is this? Is this your, like, I'm not really a Wycoffer, but is this your, you know, your Lipsy, whatever, your Spring? I'm not really a Wyckoff guy, but potentially, right? This could be topping. We don't know, right? We don't know. No one fucking knows when this shit is gonna end. Could this be it? Could this be the end of the run? I don't know. But yeah, if this thing nukes, right? Obviously, if this nukes below here, crypto is fucked. Unless crypto decouples and becomes this safe haven asset out in a risk-off environment, which could happen. I don't fucking know. But if this happens, I'm leaning in the camp that crypto eats a dick as well. Real quick, we'll look at the charts from my last altcoin video. And would you look at that? We did algo in the last altcoin video, and I talked about algo catching a bid right here. I think we have a pretty clear SR level, which is just these highs right here. We also have this order block right here. So Algorand on support. I wanted to see it hold this SR level. And as you can see, one touch, higher low, and we're moving away. So if Bitcoin is able to catch a bid and rally, this is the area that algo would rally from. Very nice move on algo. That's right in line with our analysis. If this thing's able to break out, it's gonna rally hard, right? It's gonna run all of these highs. So I really want to see it hold above this, you know, kind of 150 area. Let's take a look at DYDX. We absolutely slapped the shit out of this one. Same as algo. I said, okay, I want to see this thing come into this area, this $21 area, and I want to see it get support. I would be looking for any sort of dip into this support area here. This is where you want to look to buy this thing. It's at the $20 area. There's your low, there's your higher low, and rallying hard right from our level. We were trading up here, right? And I said, I want to see it come down here. I'm waiting for here. I'm not chasing this. I'm waiting for down here if it gives. There's your double bottom. So that looks good. Tezos, we absolutely smacked the shit out of. So we have this bullish H12 range here. We have a low, higher high, potential for a higher low here. Here's an H12 breaker right here. And we're within the lower part of the range. If this thing is gonna catch a bid, this is where you wanna see it happen. Low to a high. There's your breaker, and this thing is fucking absolutely ripped. I gave you guys this exact setup in that altcoin video. This is where I want to see this thing catch a bid. If it's gonna go up, I want this to be a higher low forming here with a target of here, right? Your risk is either below the breaker or below here. 60% move there. Very nice. So 3 for 3 on the altcoin video, man. There's always at least one fucking smooth-brained ape who goes, oh, hurdy-dirty-dirt, could go up or down. I'm a clout whore. I shouldn't say I'm a whore. I'm a clout farmer. Are the Bears completely fucked, as Rookie would say? And we've had someone rename their account to smooth-brained ape. Very nice. Pretend I'm Trader SZ. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette here. I'm gonna call you guys cunts, and I'm gonna talk with a cool British accent for a second. Ethereum. Ledges. Okay, Ledges? You listening, Ledges? I wonder if Mayne lives in an igloo and has a pet moose. Absolutely I do. A gooder entry. I'm really good at English too. No amount of money in crypto is a responsible amount. Come on. Sure. I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. If I knew the answers to those types of questions, I wouldn't be live streaming on YouTube. I'd be a billionaire sitting on a yacht somewhere. Golden cross equals golden shower. I'm super rich, so I obviously have TradingView Premium. That's funny. No, I'm not a billionaire. Not yet. Gotta manifest that shit. Main brother, all we want to know are how many hoes we hitting on the H12. I don't even know what that means. You mean the 12-hour chart? Gun to my head? Not sure why there would be a gun to my head, but if there were, are you American? My hat literally has a Canadian flag on it, guys. This is a Blue Jay. This is the Canadian maple leaf over here. Come on, guys. I say A. Thought it was a Ferrari cap. This is a guy who's never seen what the Ferrari logo looks like. He's got thousands of pounds of weight that he has to carry around every day. As you guys can see, I'm still pasty as ever. I'm gonna come back from Dubai either super tanned or super red. Are you fighting cred in Dubai? I like to live, so I will not be fighting cred. He's still the GOAT and the drip god.